Mixed martial arts and professional wrestling are totally different, but very similar. One is the most violent athletic competition in the world, while the other is a combination of sports and theater. But at the end of the day, each sport strives to provide entertainment for its fans. For that reason, someone who might excel in one field could also do well in the others, except for CM Punk, of course. Although each sport exists in separate categories, there have been several individuals who crossed over from the octagon into the squared circle, and vice versa. But in today's video, we're focusing on those who started out as a UFC fighter and had enormous success as a WWE superstar. With that in mind, here are 5 UFC stars who found success after transferring to the WWE. Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was the UFC's biggest draw in the pre-Conor McGregor era. The Minnesota native had a huge following even before he made his Octagon debut, thanks to his spectacular WWE stint from 2002 to 2004. Many doubted Lesnar could succeed in the Octagon due to the stigma that professional wrestlers aren't tough enough to fight for real. But of course, Lesnar silenced his critics by quickly rising to the top of the UFC heavyweight division. Lesnar was given the opportunity of a lifetime against Randy Couture in 2008. In one of the most shocking moments in UFC history, Lesnar dismantled the Natural to officially become the baddest man on the planet. However, a bout with diverticulitis forced Lesnar to retire from the sport after losing to Alistair Overeem in UFC 141. In 2012, Lesnar made another surprising career move by returning to his pro wrestling roots. The Beast Incarnate would have the best run of his WWE stint, as he would claim several world titles since his return, and ended The Undertaker's legendary WrestleMania undefeated streak. Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey at her peak was MMA's biggest star, a feat that is exceedingly impressive given her heyday coincided with the likes of Conor McGregor and Jon Jones. Unfortunately, Rousey's downfall was as abrupt as her rise to superstardom. After amassing 12 consecutive pro MMA stoppage wins, Rousey was seemingly an unstoppable force in the UFC's women's bantamweight division. For that reason, Rousey, along with her millions of supporters, thought Holly Holm would be just another name on her long list of victims. But they were dead wrong. We all know what happened here. Rousey tried to recover from her first defeat against Amanda Nunes in UFC 207. However, the Brazilian proved too fierce for the former champion, mauling Rousey to score the TKO win in the first round. And that was the last time Rousey stepped foot in the octagon. Rousey rose from the ashes like a phoenix when she entered the world of pro wrestling in 2018. She made a surprise appearance at WWE's Royal Rumble event. She went on to win the company's Raw Women's title before returning to retirement after main event WrestleMania 35. Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle grew disillusioned with MMA. As a result, the former UFC fighter decided to leave the sport after spending 5 years as a professional. Riddle was released by the UFC after his second positive test for marijuana in less than a year. He signed with Legacy Fighting Championship, but found himself in Bellator after his contract was purchased by the promotion. Bellator's rigid schedule, coupled with the rib injury he sustained, reinforced Riddle's decision to finally hang up his gloves in 2013. But Riddle found a way to use his physical gifts and charisma for good use outside of cage fighting. Reinvigorated by a newly found passion, Riddle revealed he's so much happier as a pro wrestler than he was as a mixed martial artist. Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler may have had a forgettable UFC career, but what she had accomplished in the WWE is nothing short of spectacular. Unlike her friend and teammate Ronda Rousey, the Queen of Spades didn't exactly rule the octagon with an iron fist. She only had 2 fights in the UFC, both of which ended by TKO at her expense. After back-to-back losses to Bethe Correia and Amanda Nunes, Baszler never returned to the octagon as she looked for greener pastures in the WWE. Needless to say, Baszler made the absolute right decision. While she was never championship material in the MMA, Baszler is a natural in the world of professional wrestling. Baszler made a splashy debut as part of the WWE Mae Young Classic. Her shining moment came when she defeated Ember Moon in 2018 to capture the WWE NXT Women's title. She has since been promoted to the WWE main roster, where she has been a steady presence to this day. Dan Severn. Dan Severn is a legend in both the UFC and the WWE. Simply put, Dan the Beast Severn is a legitimate badass. Severn's background in Greco-Roman wrestling made him a perfect fit for both the UFC and the WWE. In 1994, just a year after the UFC was founded, Severn made his promotional debut, making him a bona fide pioneer of the octagon. At UFC 4, he choked out Anthony Macias and Marcus Bossett in the first 2 rounds, before getting submitted himself by Royce Gracie. Take note, this all happened in just a span of several hours, back when the UFC was still holding single-day tournaments. The only Triple Crown champion in UFC history, Severn is remembered for his battles with fellow legends Ken Shamrock, David Tank Abbott, and Mark Coleman. Severn appeared in WWF programming for the first time in 1997. Being one of the first individuals to win a UFC title, the Beast wore the prize belt on WWE Raw during the Attitude Era. While Dan's tenure in WWE was a short one, he was involved in notable storylines involving Ken Shamrock and Owen Hart.